Hello, I'm Jared Fry, General Manager of Medina TV, and I want to welcome you into a format like our Candidates Forum that we just had this last November. We have the Medina City School District that'll be heading to the ballot this May, and we wanted to get an early start and start to explain exactly what you will see on the ballot this May. And joining me in studio now is Superintendent of Medina City Schools, Sable. Thank you for joining us.
Of course. Hello.
Hello, and welcome. And I guess first to start off, you're looking to put a levy on the ballots. It'll be, the wording's a little different, but I guess start off just kind of explaining why the need for the levy.
Sure. 4 years ago, our community voted to pass an emergency levy, and that emergency levy was a 5.9 mil levy that provided the district with approximately $6.6 million. That levy is ending in 2018. And if we do not put another levy up, that means we have to reduce our overall district budget by $6.6 million. So we're looking to put a substitute emergency levy up, and the reason why it's called a substitute is because it literally substitutes the existing emergency levy. It'll be for the same dollar amount in terms of collection, so it still collects $6.6 million. But what we're looking to change is with the substitute, we're able to offer it as a continuous levy. And what that provides us with as a district is stability moving forward. So it gives us more flexibility in working with our school budget in order to implement more programming per our strategic plan that we worked with the community and the staff to put together last school year.
And these are all great points, and we'll try to touch on all those. But I guess first and foremost, let's work through some of the confusion through it all. Well, first of all, I guess the easiest way to put it is you're not asking for any new taxes. It would be currently, like you said, the same revenue, the 6.6 that's collected, but the wording is a lot different. I guess the first thing is because you have to call it an emergency levy because the current one that expires in 2018 was an emergency levy, and that's what made it a 5-year term.
Correct.
And now, just as you had stated, but I want to clarify, just for, I guess, wording purposes on the ballot through the elections, it has to be worded that you're substituting the emergency levy, correct? So it's just kind of a name.
It's solely a name thing, and it's not us to decide what the name of the levy is going to be. In order to do a continuous levy, we need to do a substitute to the emergency. If we put a regular old emergency on like we currently have, then we would be constrained to time limits, 5-year time limit or 10-year time limit. The reason why I don't want to put another emergency on but want to substitute it is because, again, I'm concerned about the long-term stability of our district. What happens with school districts when you have continuous levies every 5 or 10 years is they tend to snowball on you. As the economy changes, as the climate changes, as costs increase, we need more money just to operate as a school district. So what happens over time with a non-continuous levy is in 5 years, maybe you need 8 mills instead of 5 mills, and then 10 mills, and like I said, it snowballs, it keeps growing until it can become an unmanageable number to go back and ask the community for.
And this is basically, you're continuing what the community requested of you. Back in 2013, when Superintendent Knight was working this levy through, he had lots of meetings and met with community members and the public and listened to their needs and what they wanted to have done. And that's what got this levy passed, and you're looking to continue those services as well as expand on them through the strategic plan.
Right, and that's exactly what was running through my mind when you were asking the question is, we're not only looking to do what was promised with the passage of the past emergency levy, but we're looking to go even beyond that. We want to offer more services to our students. Our Board of Education, as well as our previous administration, has done an outstanding job in being responsible and conservative with our funds. So what that's allowing us to do is to not ask for any more money right now, to just have the same amount of money on a continuous basis and implement more programming than was originally promised. Our strategic plan that we developed last year will be implemented in full with the passage of this levy without asking for any more dollars.
And I guess to go back, we can really delve into this, but I want to go back and make sure I make it clear. Again, they're going to see a lot of changes. The wording, number one, we just kind of touched on that. The second point is going from a 5.9 mil to a 5.2 mil.
Correct.
So I guess just kind of explain a little bit of why you see that change, but still the collections maintain the same amount.
Correct, and that's actually, I think, can be a confusing thing because you know, I've had the question. You say you're asking for the same money, but the millage is different. Well, the reason why that happens is because a change in those property values within our school district have risen. With an emergency levy, the millage adjusts, the collection adjusts based off of property value increases. So with those property values increasing, the millage naturally decreases, so we continue to collect that same $6.6 million. So that 5.2 mils is what the auditor's office has told us equates right now going into 2018 as the $6.6 million. And to be straightforward, our community is actually going to see a slight tax decrease going into 2018 because of those property value increases. Because we were collecting at the 5.9 mil rate, that's decreasing to 5.2, and then with passage of the substitute levy, it's going to stay at that lower amount. So the community is actually going to be getting more for less.
And also allows the school district, because of other factors, opportunities to maybe see some more financial return with their collections as well, with businesses and with new development that could come along into the city.
Correct, and that's a unique thing with a substitute emergency levy, and that's one of the reasons why we made the decision to go in this direction. Your typical levy doesn't allow the opportunity to receive additional funds for development in the community. Typically what would happen is the funds that are being collected, the 6.6 mils, would be spread, or 6.6 million would be spread amongst any new development, households, businesses. But with the substitute emergency levy, it allows us to collect new dollars from any new development. And our community is still developing, it's still booming. What advantage does this give to the school district? It allows us to increase the amount of money that we're collecting as the community grows, which we typically wouldn't be able to do. How does it help the community? Taxes won't be increasing for any community members with the new development, but the district will be able to take advantage of those additional homes or those additional businesses. And in the long run, that could extend when we need new money out even longer. We could be looking at a period of 9 to 10 years since the last time that we asked for any new money at all. And there are some unpredictables there. You don't know how many developments are going to come up, families moving in, the new businesses.
State funding.
State funding. But I feel pretty good about things. You know, with the city's doing, with the downtown area to develop down there, as well as the housing developments, I think it's going to be to our advantage.
Yeah, and so again, I guess to recap, the name looks the same on the ballot as the substitute, but it will move to a continuous.
Correct.
It'll be collecting at the 5.2 instead of the 5.9, which we just discussed a little bit of the savings there, but actually the collections would remain the same from a dollar standpoint.
It's still $6.6 million approximately, and like I said, it's no increase in taxes to the community. As a matter of fact, they'll see a slight decrease.
Yeah, and that's one, I mean, we can even break that down to the cost of a homeowner, but it's actually, I guess for lack of a better term, instead of breaking that down, what they're paying now basically stays the same other than that little bit of a savings they'll see.
Yeah, what they're paying now stays the same or may even decrease slightly.
And that, again, is going back to the district listening to what the community's asked for. That's what started this in the first place with the first emergency levy, listening for the busing to come back. I think some of the gifted programs, I believe some in the arts as well, and that's what you're looking to continue. What the community asked for, what you promised them in the other administration in 2013, you're just looking to continue that promise.
We're looking to expand that promise. We worked very closely with the community last year to see what they wanted of the schools. The schools are a part of the community, and the community is part of the schools. And I think sometimes we lose sight of that relationship that the schools and the communities have. We are fortunate to be in a special position here in Medina where there's so much collaboration that the school district and the city are able to work together. What that does for us is it puts us in a position where we want to make sure that we're getting community feedback. And we want the schools to be what the community wants them to be. And that's why we involve them in the strategic planning process. So all of the things that we're looking to implement, even beyond what was originally promised, such as all-day kindergarten, increased electives at our high school and middle school, inquiry-based learning programming. Those are all additional programs that weren't originally on the plate that we want to offer without asking for more money.
And that's a win-win for both students, parents, and the community as well. So that's definitely a good thing to see. But you brought up a key point there, and you talked about being transparent and looking at offering these services. And I think transparency is a key thing. And that's when you look at the emergency levy that was in the first time. It kind of would hold you accountable to a 5-year plan. If you weren't meeting what you promised to the community, then that levy can disappear and go away after 5 years. By moving to the continuous levy, what checks or balances are in place to maintain that transparency and hold the district accountable?
And I think that's an outstanding question. It's actually one of the most common questions that I've received regarding the upcoming levy. There's a very important need to hold the school district accountable. And what I hope we've done over the past 5 years with Dave Knight when he was superintendent, and then with my transition, is we've been able to reestablish that relationship with the community, and really have an open ear to what the expectations are of them. What's really unique about our situation right now is typically when a district goes out with a school levy, they're going for a levy because they need more money. And that's not what we're doing right now. We just want to keep the same amount of funding that we currently have. If our levy doesn't pass, we immediately lose $6.6 million in 2018 off of our budget. What that is going to cause is dramatic cuts that we would have to make across the district. When a district is asking for more money, they typically aren't looking at such dramatic cuts because they're not going to see a reduction in their budget due to the non-passage of the levy. So that's why we want to do a continuing levy. In terms of holding us accountable, holding the district accountable, hold me accountable. Hold our building principals accountable. Hold our school board accountable. That's why we elect school board members. Don't hold our kids accountable. Dropping off $6.6 million in the budget, is it going to impact us? Yes, obviously, because we'll have to cut jobs. But who's it going to impact the most? It's going to be the students in Medina City schools.
So you're talking about the accountability and holding yourself accountable, principals and school board, and that's how the community definitely can get involved. I know you guys are open sessions during the school board meetings in which public can be part of the process, hold you guys accountable, do a check and balance, which they have done in the past as we've gone through some things in the district. That's one opportunity. I think a lot of the coffee talks or community forums you guys have as well. What other opportunities are there that you foresee with passage of this levy of being able to keep you in that check and balance?
That's exactly why we have a strategic plan in place. And one thing that was extremely important to me coming in as the new superintendent is that we have an actual working strategic plan in place. And the reason why I say that is because I've been in other districts where there's strategic plans, but they're just general goals, like all students will learn. That's not what I wanted as a district leader. I wanted tangible things that can show that we're working towards definite goals to show improvement in the district, and that we can show the community that we're achieving those goals. So our strategic plan is outlined for a 5-year period. It's purposely not longer than that. We will be providing the community with updates on the strategic plan and the strategic planning process throughout the 5 years. We first presented the strategic plan last June. We already have a community chat on the calendar for 2018 in June to give an update to the community on the strategic plan, where we will provide the data on what we've achieved, what we're still working on, or maybe a different road we had to take with one of the things, items within the plan. At the end of that 5 years, once we have completed the entire strategic plan, we're going to be bringing the community back together and bringing the staff back together and reevaluating what's the next step. Where do we want to go over the next 5 years? And we'll follow a similar process that we have this time.
So you have it there, you say you'll project it out for 5 years, but it's something that you're constantly reevaluating every year because things can change, of course.
I would say we are reevaluating on a weekly basis. Okay. Yeah, every time we sit down and we have staff meetings, we have administrator meetings, we have board meetings. The bulk of the conversation is regarding items within that strategic plan. So we're constantly reevaluating, adjusting. We have definite goals we want to meet, but there's multiple paths to meet those goals, and we want to make sure that we're doing it in the most responsible, conservative, and appropriate way possible.
And I'd imagine that plan is also what helped you get to this point for this levy as well. You could look at that plan, kind of work through the financials, and see what you needed to go to the community with.
Absolutely. I mean, that strategic plan outlines the next 5 years. We were able to work into the budget what the potential costs would be for the different components of the strategic plan. And that's how we knew that we didn't need to ask the community for more money right now. When we were first looking at the strategic plan last year and we were calculating expenses, we had talked with the board that there could be increased expenses and we could be needing more money in order to implement the strategic plan. But when it came down to it, once the plan was done, is it going to cost more money? It is, but we have the money there. Because of the conservative approach we've been taking, we've been able to accumulate the money to implement the strategic plan. The new levy, the substitute levy being on a continuous basis, allows us to free up those saved dollars so we don't have to go to the community for more money at this time. But absolutely, that strategic plan has totally driven our forecast for the next 5 years.
And I know I touched on a moment ago, you're kind of talking about the gloom side of that if it doesn't pass. But I think a lot of that gloom side, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is just having to repeal, I mean, there's some other things that will be in there, but repeal all the things the community wanted in the first place that led to the first passage of the original emergency levy. Those things would all be in a state of flux again if you were not able to obtain the continuous levy this time around.
Correct. If the continuous levy, the substitute continuous levy, doesn't go into place, we will be looking at pretty dramatic cuts. And I can't at this time say exactly what those will be. However, it would definitely include many of the things that the community has asked us to implement in the past. But to be honest with you, that's not where my mind is. My mind's on we're passing this levy. We've worked with the community to get to this point. We're headed in a positive direction. We're doing it in a financially responsible way. We, the community, we're going to pass this levy.
And I think, too, I want to make sure we get this out again correctly, because I even thought in our conversation we kind of delved away wording-wise. But again, it is looking to be continuous levy, but it's a substitute emergency levy.
Correct.
Again, see, already just in our conversation, you can see why it's confusing for residents as well. But I guess, again, recap for everyone again, just because in case we might have got some of the terminology wrong as we were discussing that, it's a substitute emergency levy, correct?
Correct.
And it'll be going from the 5.9 mils, they'll actually see the savings and see it drop down to 5.2 mils.
That's correct.
Collecting at the same dollar amount.
6.6.
Yeah, and so basically it's not a change for anyone. That's like I said, you could reference back to people with a home. The value of a home, a $100,000 home would be $182 a year. $150,000 would be $273 a year, and $200,000 would be $364 a year. But that's basically what they're already paying now under the current levy.
That's correct.
Again, just to be clear, I keep saying continuing, but I know it's a substitute emergency levy, but you're just looking basically, for lack of a better term, either a continuing or a renewal, I guess if you want to look at it as another term that they might have seen in the ballot before. That's kind of what you're looking for. But because the Board of Election makes you use the correct terminology, that's why it's being seen as a substitute.
Correct.
And again, bringing all the being able to maintain the services, and what I like best is because of your strategic plan, which is commendable on the school district's part, you guys are actually looking not only to continue what you're doing, but to add to it.
We are definitely looking to add to it. We want to provide the best academics and extracurriculars for our students that we possibly can. And again, we've taken the direction from the community on what those areas are. And we're anxious to move forward. We want to make sure that we don't have very many students that are going to miss out on the new components that we're going to add to the district, because it is going to make us better.
Yeah. And I mean, what a nice avenue for you as well. So oftentimes you've got to go, you're asking for more money, you're worried about cuts and trying to let people know that. This is just, nothing changes. You just want to continue what you're doing and be able to do that, as a district well. So it's definitely got to be a little nicer position for you as superintendent, just to be able to go up to people and say, hey, nothing's changing. We just want to be able to keep doing what we're doing.
Yeah, that feels great. It's my first levy as a superintendent, so to be able to go to the community and be able to say, we don't need new money right now is a really good feeling. I really can't take the credit for that, though. I have to give that to the leadership of our board, as well as the leadership of the administration and the teachers and the staff in our district for the way that they have operated and performed over the past 4 years.
And that's been definitely something that's been a motto here for Medina ever since that levy passed back in 2013, is looking to move Medina forward. And that's something that definitely, as our logo says there on the screen, something you guys are looking to continue to do. And I guess the biggest thing is, as we talked here, hopefully we're able to clear up some of the questions for the residents. But if they still have questions, I believe you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but they can go to www.medinabees.org and go to the Contact Us section of the website. They can able to input their information and put a question out to you, and it'll be answered by you or someone on your staff that can give them the best answer possible, correct?
And we want to have a personal relationship with our community, so I encourage people to contact us if they have questions. On our website, they can submit questions, and when we got the original questions, we did email individuals, but I've been personally calling because I think the conversation piece is so important. So please reach out to us or attend one of our community chats. We are doing the community chats just like last year throughout the school year, and that's a great time to have more in-depth conversations.
And that's something they'll be able to find the dates and times for that on the website.
It's all on our website.
And of course here on Medina channel 36 or channel 201, I'm still saying 36, but channel 201 here on our education channel, we'll have that broadcasted as well. And if they have questions and you don't like the internet as much, you can still call in at 330-636-3010. Again, 330-636-3010, and leave your questions, and we'll get those answered for you. And actually looking forward to hopefully having you back on air a few times between now and May, and bring up some of those questions that the community might raise and get those answers for them.
That would be outstanding. I think the more avenues we can communicate, the better.
And now I know we kind of went through a lot of this stuff here. Is there any portion of this levy you don't think we touched on that we need to discuss, or anything you'd like to say in regards to this levy?
I think the most important thing that I'd like to say is that we want to provide the best academics for our students. And in order to do that, we need collaboration and support from our community. We're in a great position where we can offer more without asking for more. And I just urge our community for your continued support that I've seen over the past almost 2 years now, so we can continue to move Medina forward.
And that's great, and that's definitely all the information you can get with questions regarding the levy will be on the Medina City Schools website. We'll be having communications like this with Superintendent Sable and others to try to keep you updated with everything that is on this levy. And I appreciate definitely your time and your openness to answer any of these questions regarding this levy, and look forward to hearing more from you between now and May.
Well, thank you for having me in today.
All right, and that'll put a wrap on this show. Again, your questions, you can go to www.medinabees.org, go to the contact page, or just check out the website to get anything answered about this levy. I'm Jared Fry for Aaron Sable. Thank you for joining us tonight.